What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Did I get it right? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game, Hall of Fame edition. I'm Hall of Fame Dusty Rhodes, Rusty Graves, and with me as always is Hall of Fame Honky Tonk Man. What's up, Lee Brown?
I'm a honky tonk man. Actually, so I have something really interesting, and I hadn't thought about this until literally a couple moments before we went on. And it's ironic that you picked Dusty Rhodes because I never know who you're gonna say. But did you know, Rusty? My mother almost named me Dusty. She came like that was the name she picked. I was gonna be Dusty, and then one of her friends overheard her say that name, and you know the whole classic like, so she named her kid Dusty, so my mom got mad and named me after my father.
That
So
was my name.
so we could have been Champions Chat with Rusty and Dusty.
I think that might be a great idea, regardless. Like,
We'll have the Battletoads calling us Dusty Rusty YouTube.
okay. Speaking of, I've actually got some updates regarding Dusty Rhodes and the Battletoads. I already had these in the show notes, and you didn't even know.
I didn't know.
Which is really interesting because our banter is organic and not pre-planned.
I know, but we're on sync today.
You know why I chose Dusty Rhodes for my intro today?
Why?
Here's why. I was talking with a friend via voice chat in Discord about how good your pulls have been lately and how bad my pulls have been. Probably always. And I just went on a little promo and I said, that's right. I'm the blue collar man of the people, the son of the plumber. You know, I'm a hard times with my pulls while Lee is out here styling and profiling, walking on these alligator shoes.
Wow.
You're the Ric Flair of pulls, and I'm the Dusty Rhodes of pulls. And we need the symbiotic relationship to exist for balance in the universe.
There you go. Well, it seems like it switches sometimes because when you hit, I don't. And when I hit, you don't. It doesn't ever feel like we both have this, like, Champions Chat won today. It's like, all right, Lee got something, and then I get nothing. You get something. So, but yeah, it does seem I get the juicy loot a little bit more often somehow.
That's right. We've never hit on the same
way.
day.
Right.
Is weird. Also, I have a Battletoads update for you. I connected Monday during the Professor's MLC blog reveal stream.
Ooh.
I connected in chat with a member of the Battletoads faction for the first time ever. So a Battletoad reached out. They sent me a whisper on Twitch. The whisper led to a friend request in Discord. The friend
Where are we
request
going with this?
led to me joining the Battletoad server. What? I'm in the inner sanctum of the Battletoad.
Wow.
I have infiltrated the faction. I am now an official friend of the faction. Maybe I'll even claim this. We are now the official content creators exclusively to the Battletoads.
Yeah.
Now, this is not a big deal. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Did you ever watch Star Trek: The Next Generation? I was a big TNG nerd, like super big TNG. No, Star Trek's way better than Doctor Who, and I can't compare because I've never seen Doctor Who, right? So there's a very famous storyline where the captain of the Enterprise, Captain Picard, he gets abducted by a society called the Borg, and they're like cyborgs. Yeah. And he boards their ship, and they are silent because they're all plugged in to like the network, and they communicate internally like a computer would. They don't use like an audible language to one another. That's what it felt like when I joined the Battletoads server.
They all ignored you?
It is a Russian language server.
Oh.
So all of the channels are in Russian. All of the chat is in Russian. And I'm there poking around like, hey guys, Anybody ever heard of Champions Chat?
Da.
Very few responses, very little response. And then after about a day of silence, I found there was an international channel that was
Oh.
actually in English, and I started making some connections with the Toads, and things are going well. In fact, I have initiated, for the first time in Battletoads history, I have initiated that one of their leaders get a town hall invite to be part and
Huh.
represent the Battletoads and connect with other faction leaders from the game. So speaking of symbiotic relationships, right? I need you and your good pulls like they need me and my connection. So
Wow.
that's that's the latest on the Battletoads. And I was like, do you guys know I've been recruiting for you for like 6 months? Again, no response.
Yet.
No. Yeah. So I'll throw out a Dostoevsky quote or something like that in the chat and see what response. Maybe I can go
I
to
read.
Google Translate and write them a nice thing and then translate it to Russian.
There
And
you go.
then maybe that's the key, my next step.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Discord should have kind of like how Facebook does, where you can click the little button and it translates a best approximation for you.
Yeah.
Discord
Translation.
needs something like that. But I was gonna say years ago when I was working at Dell, I took a challenge upon myself to read the Brothers Karamazov. So I have read some Dostoevsky, not just but not his most popular work. I just read that one, and it was
Every
still a massive tome, but it was good.
every time you talk about Dell, I always think about that old commercial. Dude, you're getting a
Dude.
Dell.
Oh, trust me. I heard that phrase. I mean, it was way past its prime when I worked there, but I mean, I was
That's
sales. So,
right.
dude, I'm getting a Dell as soon as
Yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
paid. Like, oh,
People that
really?
know what dude you're getting a Dell means
Yeah.
also had AOL on CD-ROM
Yeah.
installed free 96 hours of AOL on their
They're
computer.
also looking at liver pills and getting their
Right.
prostates checked. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're aging fast. Well, Lee, you know who's
Hmm.
also not aging fast? In fact, the prettiest moonsault in all of wrestling got a massive rework out of nowhere, as Randy Orton would say. Tiffany Stratton,
Yeah.
Acro, um, dare I say it, one of the more disappointing recent characters amongst the community. I
Yeah.
love Tiffany. I accepted her for who she was. I had no unspoken expectations of her. I was just glad to have Tiffy, right? Well, she got a rework. Her finisher now has a reversal, and you
Yeah.
can steal up to 49 multiply gems and steal the turn.
Yeah.
Lee, does that rework matter? Is that breaking news? Is that a big deal? Steal
Uh,
49. Now this is a multiply gem
right.
meta.
Right. Right, it's
So
always it's always going to be a multiply gem meta just because of the way those gems function. But yeah, I mean, so theoretically, you run purple, purple, blue, and the blue finisher allows you to change a bunch of the board blue, which
right.
means, let's say you're going up against Showboat Charlotte Flair, who has turned the entire board into multiply gems. You then steal those as if they're your own, and now you
Juicy.
hit them. So yeah, in a very specific instance of her battling against multi-gem people, she is now somewhat more useful. I still
I
don't
feel
think she is top tier, but I mean that's I mean I'll take a let's make her better over let's make her worse any day.
I have a feeling she's going to be sneaky good. And
Yeah.
they will forget that matchup. They will go into that matchup with their Jade Cargill or their heavy metal Rhea. They will be feuding and go, what the heck? This.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Tiffany is about to go from the I'll use some hyperbole here. Tiffany is
Okay.
about to go from the most disappointing superstar in Champions in recent history to the most frustrating, dare I say it, the most hated
Oh.
opponent champions.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, you still specifically have to accidentally use a multi-gem female, of which there are not a ton, but yeah,
What?
I mean, you called out Heavy Metal Rhea right there. That's most people's. That's my go-to female in feud. Period. So I will feud with females. Forget that Tiffy steals multiply gems and be cursing the day here within a month. I bet you.
Or showdown, right? You could put Tiffy as your showdown defense, slot
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You could put the Tiffy plate on her if you were to acquire it, right?
I
And
did
now
not.
when you click a purple move, right, her blue gems are going to get 250% more damage. So what if you steal those multiplies and then do 250% more damage to those multiplies, Lee? Then is she overpowered?
We'll have to see. Unfortunately, that's not something we can test with our candy store accounts
Right.
because we can't do competitive modes. So we would have to. We'd have to use. So you will have to use Tiffy in your feuds because I do not have plans to take her beyond 6 bronze except for her trainer ability, and I'm just not. I just don't have the resources right now to put into her going 6 silver. So for now, she's I don't run 6 bronzes competitively anyway, so she's not going to be somebody I'm throwing into my lineups. But you never know. You never know. As long as they keep megazording her to make her better, I'm okay with life.
I like the rework. I think the rework makes her a legitimate threat in feud.
Oops.
I think adding the plate makes it substantially better. And I think if she were to ever get a moment, watch out. Watch out, bro.
Maybe.
Watch out.
Yeah, and there's chatter for her successor, Mae Young, the one who came after her is the one who came before her, that she'll have some sort of Megazord-like things come about. I mean, obviously the A tier characters get the showdown plates, or we used to call them the showdown setups, but so, she'll get a plate, which is why we're not power rating either of the females this weekend, but
Possible.
she'll get there.
We don't know. I'm going to put the
No, no,
asterisk
no.
there.
She'll get a
Possible.
plate. Every A
Oh,
tier character so far has gotten a plate for the last like 2
I
years for
just
the
think
showdown characters.
she does not do well with disappointment. They do. They will hold you to. I mean, if
Fair.
that play is not in the works, and if it is delayed even one day, they're going to
That's
be
true.
filling out tickets saying Lee said we would get,
Yeah.
and it would be free, and or whatever. Right? They're going to roast you, man. Be real. I
Yeah.
remember when we were in that season of everything we said. We said every sentence of this podcast. There's an asterisk that says allegedly.
Allegedly
Okay,
subject to
every
change. Yeah.
an all encompassing allegedly. So I like Tiffany's rework. I think it matters. Well, we're in a new MLC. Summer of Darkness is over. Now it's Summer of Champions 2, where the community voted. I'm not sure why
Dostowski.
they voted for what they voted for because uh, can I just share a bone to pick?
Yeah.
Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas was in the stinking finals, and we did not pick Bo Dallas. We knew Uncle Howdy was on the horizon. People are constantly posting they want the Wyatt Six in the game, and yet they did not take the opportunity they had to get the Wyatt Six in the game.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. But if
Poor
you
choice
watch
for
the
you.
if
Now
you
we got
watch the
Batista.
votes,
Batista. I needed young Batista in white trunks with very few tattoos. That's what I needed in this game instead of Uncle Howdy.
well, if you watch the way the voting goes on the portals, it's often like right now the vote is who are you most excited to get, on your roster. Batista's
Yeah,
winning that vote by far, and we'll talk about the utility of the characters this month. But Batista is hands down winning the web poll for who are you excited to get this month.
that's crazy to me. That's crazy. Now, unless there's a bunch of Marvel Universe fans out there and they're voting Batista simply because he's Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy series, and that's the. I don't see it. I don't. Okay. First of all,
Yeah.
I met Dave Batista in the Fresno airport in
Yeah.
California years ago. He and John Cena both were coming off of a plane. They were like Fresno used to be like a big destination for like PLEs, right? In the old days, they would have Royal Rumbles in Fresno. They would have it was a really like blue collar cities are where the WWE makes their bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
So Batista and John Cena come off this plane together,
Okay.
right? And they're wearing suits, and they look like the world's meanest businessmen. I mean, they are jacked, right? Just muscles, and people recognize Cena, right? Now, this is young Batista. He's not yet main card. He's not yet main event Batista. So fans just flock to John Cena. They surround him. They want autographs. They want to shake his hand. They want to get to know him. I see Batista standing there with the look of disgust on his face because no one gives a care as to who he is, and no one is going to shake his hand, get his autograph, ask him who he is. That told me everything I needed to know. That even then, when he's in the low card, he could not celebrate the success of the perennial main eventer who he's traveling with. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. I've got some wrestling stories that I tell from time to time. That's one of them. And I thought, this guy's a jerk. So
wow. Well, hot takes and Dave Bautista, if you would like to hop on the podcast and verbally berate Rusty, we would love to have you on here.
Right. Well, you know what? Here's the thing, right? Even when he was a title holder, like he was like a Damian Priest champion. He was a guy that was just setting up Orton or Cena to get back in the main event scene. He was never the guy. Batista was never the guy.
Wow.
And he's still not the guy.
Wow. So now we have two very muscular men in this country who, if they ever meet you, will go, "Are you Rusty Lee from YouTube?"
Yeah.
I break you.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So in the Battletoads server, I was like, "I'm Rusty from Champions Chat. Has anyone ever heard of our podcast or watched our content?" And then one of them wrote in kind of broken English. It was so funny. "Are you Rusty from Rusty Lee YouTube?" Yes.
That's me. I'm like a Z-level celebrity now. Yay.
Yeah, I'm an internationally recognized podcaster.
Oh, that's some spin we can use. All right, great. Welcome to Champions Chat, the most internationally recognized podcast about the WWE Champions mobile app.
Central Europe and Southern Asia goes crazy for our content. Like if you didn't know that. So
there you go.
Lee, what are you noticing about this new MLC? What are you seeing with Summer of Champions 2 so far? We're 1 week in.
Yeah. So my honest take on the early side is I knew this would happen initially, but the last month was so good, and especially the Aussie aspect of it, you know, the collection contest, getting Aussie to 6-star gold, that whole chase, the characters, you know, overall really good, etc. That I knew I was coming into this MLC kind of feeling like, okay, this one's not going to be as good, so temper your expectations. Because usually if you have one that's that high, then you kind of feel like the next one's a little bit low. And early, you know, we're only a couple days in. My early gut was that I still felt that way. You know, I did all the previews for the characters. All of them are decent to good. There's not really a stinker in the group this time around, whereas last month Brutus was horrible, just terrible, flat out. But there's not a stinker in the group, but there's also not really a super standout. And then, you know, I get caught up in making our videos because, I mean, I was up until 2 a.m. the night before last.
This really is
videos.
So just a disclaimer about Lee.
Yeah.
I don't anyone who loves this game more than Lee, myself included. I do not love this game as much as Lee loves it. I have stepped away from the game. Lee has pulled me back into the game. I have sworn I would never spend on the game. Lee has got me spending on the game. I have I had never watched content prior to Lee. Lee started sending me, Merrick's videos, and Lee has basically been ahead of me in the game, both in enthusiasm and in intelligence for as long as I can remember.
Wow.
And we're still there. Yeah, but I love the game, but not as much as Lee. I mean, Lee's he's a mark.
Yeah. We got Zandal and Mr. Rogue Effect in the comments saying I'm a pusher now, but wow.
Man. Yeah.
Wow.
The first Merrick's video he sent me was free, just a taste, right? Get me going.
Yeah. And then you had to start sending Merrick's your personal money.
Right.
No, so early on, I would say, early on, my initial take was I want Ilya like crazy. The rest I'm okay with. I will get into those takes. But then, Professor, what I was saying was I get so focused on making like the content we have to get out quickly that I oftentimes don't have time to like make some of the side content. And Professor put out a video of Maxine Dupree as a trainer for William Regal, and now Regal hits 600 million turn one. And I was like, oh, well, never mind. I want Maxine Dupree as like that is my main focus this month now is I will do what it takes to get Maxine Dupree. And if I get Ilya, I mean, that would be amazing. But now that's my new focus. And that's my new like, okay, what's my win? That's my win. But overall, I would say midweek prize wall, I'm not as excited about it as I was the last 2 months. I don't think there's much on there that I'm interested in. I mean, there's a few things that'd be like, cool, I got that, hooray, but not like I have to have this.
I don't like that there's repeats, meaning like the Brutus gear, Hall of Fame Brutus gear is still there. Why?
That's what I want, actually.
Why not?
I didn't get it. I need it.
Yeah, it's like
that's my one get from the prize walls. If I can get Brutus's gear.
To me, it's like give us a chance to get Hall of Fame Kurt Angle gear, right? Give us a chance to get.
They put Macho Man gear on there. That was different.
Right. Yeah,
but I don't have Macho Man.
That's a get, right? Is that what? Side note, is it worth it to grab both Macho gears this month if you're a UCC pass holder and then to target Macho Man as your top target? Or is that insane? Because I've been considering doing that.
Did you happen to see that Professor made a video of that this very day that came out this morning or last night?
Oh. What?
Yeah.
Really?
He did. He covered it. Professor's got you, boo. So, but here, so let me address. I'm happy they put Brutus back on
me. You see how it works? You see how this relationship works, right? I ask him a question. He pushes the product on me, right?
Oh, man.
I think we're on to you, pal.
Oh, man. I may or may not have been in sales most of my life, but still, anyway. I'm very happy that they put Brutus's gear back up there because quite honestly, my love for Brutus, because I have 0 gears for him, has waned. I've left him at 6-star silver. I've never taken him up to gold. He's not on my priority list. But I started thinking, I was like, man, if I had both of his gears, and then I literally had the thought like 2 days before the MLC ended, I was like, I wasn't going to not go for Regal's gear. That was the most important thing on the prize wall for me. But I was like, man, I'm really kind of sad that I missed Hall of Fame Brutus's gear. And now they're there. Right. So for me, that would be the one. And then Macho, I don't have plans to get him off the UCC, but with gears, he was considered the best Hall of Famer before this most recent round came out. So, yeah.
I would have loved to have seen, okay, I'll give you that. If you're going to repeat the Brutus gear, this might be the most whale thing I've ever said ever is like, when I saw that I had it, I was kind of like, yawn, what else you got, right? I already have it. That's outrageous for me to say that, right? Because I'm the blue collar.
You got both gear. I got 0 gear.
I know. So that's rare. That's a rare thing. So the other thing I would have loved to have seen on that midweek prize wall is they put the Indy Valentine's gear there and they put the Bianca Valentine's gear. They did not put the Dominic gear, and like he's not
Becky's
he's
gear.
not gonna break the game. Like he's not even that powerful. He's kind of
He's not.
outdated. So like for those of us that love Dom, like I probably would have chased that. I probably would have.
Yeah.
I love like I think Dominic Mysterio is my favorite. Like I don't know, my favorite part of a story in the WWE.
Interesting.
Cody's my
Wow.
favorite wrestler. Dominic is my favorite centerpiece of story at this
Hmm.
point. Like
That's interesting.
incredible. I
That's
I
really
didn't
interesting.
think we'd ever get to this point. I
Huh.
thought I would hate that kid the way I do Batista and Lesnar, but I freaking love him. I He's my boo. He's my
He's
poohie,
doing
as they
good
say, as the
things. Yeah.
youngsters say.
And
He really
he
is.
keeps making smart decisions to make you hate him. Like he is so good at making, they say Logan Paul has a very punchable face. Like he has a very punchable aura. Like he's be able to create
Yeah.
this aura where you're like, I just want you to get kicked in the spleen. Ah.
So someone wrote on Twitter earlier this week that how does Dominic go from do a heel turn from a heel to an even bigger heel? Like that was so
That's good.
perfect. Hey Lisa,
So prize walls, huh?
I have a question, and someone asked it in the chat, and it's in my show notes. You talked about the midweek prize wall. We've talked about it, but
Yeah.
now there's a new month-long Indy Hartwell prize wall
Yeah.
and a daily reset tour
Yeah.
for last year's champions voted. The community voted Bob Orton, Terry Funk, Oblivion, and there's a tour that resets every day and a prize wall for her. And
Yeah.
it's like some of the stuff on there is
Stacked.
really, really, really good. The
Right.
Piper plate, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have one. So this has my attention. What do I need to be thinking about as a member of the community?
Well, yes. So I called that out when we did the WCW blog read. And I would say if there's one thing this month that everyone who can try for it should try for, it's the Piper Plate. To requote Merrick's on another video, he said, if I could have anything in the game, I would take a second Piper Plate. And if I could have anything else in the game, I would take a third Piper Plate. Because, like, there are
Wow.
so many characters that makes just top of the pile. I mean, your like your Hall of Fame Triple H goes from he's okay to he is an absolute destroyer. William Regal goes from he's an absolute destroyer to he is the best thing that's ever been in this game. I mean, you have
The
so many characters that are
Eater of
there.
Worlds now,
The
right?
Eater of Worlds, the
Yeah.
real like Galactus level character.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I would say I'm tempering my expectations because it is obviously the most expensive thing on there. It's 123 and change thousand currency. Now we're only a few days in, but I'm at 2,000. So,
Right.
if I'm trying to track that out, 2,000 across a couple days means I'm getting to like 60,000, not 100 and something thousand.
I'm pulling it
But
up right now.
I
I'm pulling it
do
up right now
have,
on my I was gonna say it it's worth noting that this month is dedicated to pyro gems. That's the theme
yes,
of the
that
month.
is the theme.
So anyone you currently like with pyro gems is going to get substantially better with the pyro gem entourage that has been
Mm,
released this month.
yes.
Also, the Pyro Gem plates are available for the first time that I
In
can
a long
remember
time.
as
Yeah.
earnable, buyable plates.
Right.
Piper's Power is 133K, but there's also this one, Lee, Pyro Princess Flaming Glove. Whenever you make
Right.
6 or more multiplied gems, increase your blue gem damage by 50% for 2 turns. Well,
Yeah.
so it's
That
Pyro
doesn't have anything to
Princess.
do with pyro, but it's got the name.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I had to reread it, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Right.
But that's
Yeah, that
that's like
doesn't
a
have anything to do with that. But
plate, right? That's a D'Lo Brown plate. That's a Grayson Waller plate.
Acro Bianca, where mine lived for a long time.
Yeah,
Which, if I
huh.
get the gear for her, that might actually. So, Professor was on stream, and Bianca Belair, and I put this in quotations, but it was a verified YouTube account. Bianca Belair hopped onto the stream and started asking about the game. And so he was like, okay, I'm just going to pretend and assume that you are actually Bianca Belair, and I'm going to show you in this game. So he showed her Acro Bianca with the gear, with the pyro plate, all that, hitting 90 million, turn recycle one. So, I mean, it does some good things, but I would say that Piper plate is the big deal. So if you follow our content, you know that I did a $1.99 pull one random evening and ended up with Indy. Like, it was the craziest pull I've ever done off stream. I'd have been jumping. So I have Indy, which means I'm expecting later on that there's going to be a lot of bonus rewards in that tour for having Indy, since she's the rare one of the bunch. And I'm still holding my breath to say it's very likely I will not get that Piper plate unless there's a deep spin element to it. But if I get that would be that, and now the trainer ability for Maxine Dupree would be the win. Oh, Spider Guard got Indy from a bag yesterday. Dang.
Awesome.
Darn.
Kreese got Ilya Dragunov from a bag this morning at like 3 a.m. Are you kidding me? I love it.
Ilya's so good. I
love when the community gets the good stuff. Like,
I
really want. Like, that's my favorite thing. It gives me hope. Look. This is my connection to the Battletoads. Soko Football 67. He's the one that whispered me and got me into the Russian language server.
Nice.
Fairly quiet when it comes to the English.
Yeah. We've had a couple questions in the chat of, do those tours reset every single day? We don't know yet. I mean, I know we read the blog, and so we should know, but if it was in there. But I'm not sure if it resets every day just during the week, or if that is weekend as well. My gut says it would be just during the week, like Monday through Friday, but no idea yet. Until it actually gets there, we don't know.
I think that's a fair prediction. Also, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Argish from Austin's Theory, joining us today in the chat. What's up, my guy? Hey, Lee, since we're talking about the new MLC, I have developed a segment that I am really excited about, and I want to do this. Help me remember. I want to do this every time there's a new superstar. Every time there's a new MLC and we get the 4, or every time there's a surprise. Now, here's what I want to do. I want you in one sentence. One sentence, right? I want you to answer the question, why did we need this in the game? Right? Now, I don't expect you to be only positive. Like, you don't have to be blindly optimistic, right? So, like, if you were to ask me, Rusty, why did we need this new Batista in the game? I would say we didn't. First of all, it should have been Bo Dallas. That's what we needed in the game.
May.
But I really like his entourage ability, right? So that would be that's one sentence, kind of a compound sentence. I had a but, right? So I did 2-part. So
breaking your own rules.
You can answer it however you want. But I'd like to run down these 4 MLC superstars, starting with Batista, so you have a time to think about it.
Okay.
Why did we need this character in the game? Striker Batista. Why did we need him in the game?
Well, I think we needed a top-tier Batista in the game to reflect the fact that he is a top-tier superstar in history. However, compound sentence, this is not a top-tier Batista in game. It's free Tista. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, for those of you like me who don't have Batista yet, Pyro Gems do 100% more damage. Blue moves to start with 2 more MP. So follow-up question, right?
Right.
Is that revolutionary?
No.
So here's my thought. I don't care who the free superstar is. I don't care if the free superstar is good or bad. I just want a good entourage ability.
Right.
Did I get that with Batista? I got 2 MP, and that's always really good. But Pyro Gems do 200% more damage. Why is that not good?
So
not Bob Orton?
I mean, it could be good for couple. But here's the thing, though. Keep in mind, when it says pyro gems or snowfall gems do more damage, that is only the gem that the pyro sits on top of, not every gem that is impacted by the pyro. So if you create a 1
Okay.
by 7 row, that's only 7 gems that are getting buffed, as opposed to the whole board. So last month, or 2 months ago now, wow, crazy, when they did Canada month and the focus was snowfall gems, there was
Yeah.
one character that filled the board with snowfall gems. And then last month, now Cody Rhodes, he fills the board with snowfall gems. So now those two characters, that's where that entourage ability goes. But if you're just
Okay.
talking somebody who makes the bottom row into pyro gems and you're like, this is going to be game changing, it's not. It's literally the bottom 7 gems that give you the buff and nothing else.
All right. So Lee agrees. Batista was a misstep. How about the next? Give me one sentence on
Okay.
why we needed Mae Young in the game.
More Legends era females. That's it. I mean, we need, yeah, she's a great, legend in her own right with everything, but just the fact that we finally have a roster of legend era females, that's it. That's
Okay.
the best.
And she's a technician, right? So a Legends Tech, which is a pretty thin category.
Right?
Maybe Bodega Becky meets that.
She's the only one,
Uh,
yeah.
she's a coach. Now, you said the Pyro Gem boost wasn't that big of a deal. She gives 100% damage to Pyro Gems.
Yeah.
And green moves that deal damage will deal 40% more damage. Lee, does that make her really viable on, say, like a Hall of Fame Neidhart that's move damage
Mm-hmm.
based, maybe with a Sheik plate, triple
Yeah.
green? Is Mae Young your gal?
Yeah, I mean, Neidhart, you're still. I mean, yeah, it depends on if you're going to buff on a triple green all the moves or just the finisher. I usually buff just the finisher for Neidhart, but all the moves is great. But again, I'm not saying that the Pyro Gem buff is bad. I'm saying it's selective. So Ilya does have a move set that uses a lot of Pyro Gems. And if we get another character that's like the pyro version of finish the story, or not finish, the story continues Cody, then that absolutely makes them astronomically the best character to use those. But they have to throw down a lot of pyro gems for that to matter. More than a
Yeah.
row, I would say.
Oh,
So,
all right. So there could be a day where someone fills the board with pyros, and we might be more interested in Batista and Mae Young's ability.
right.
Um, I'm going to ask you the same question now
Okay.
about why did we need, now? Okay, pause. Derek, 1985 says the answer to your question of why we needed him in the game is because the community voted on them.
Right.
True, but we're also asking about their in-game ability. We're also
Right.
asking about what they do for gameplay versus just why did we need this particular superstar in the game.
Yeah.
So, Lee, why did we need Maxine Dupree in the game? This, and
Why
I'm
do we
saying
need
specifically,
her, or what is what?
this showboat focused Alpha Academy, Maxine Dupree. Why do we need this character in the game?
We need her because her training ability makes William Regal even more the best character in the game, comma, which I did not think was possible.
Mm,
Her coaching ability, training ability, whichever it is, entourage ability, is
right.
insane.
Let me read
Insane.
it. Pyro gems do 18k more damage. Now this is at 31k
That doesn't
trainer.
matter.
Moves that generate pyro gems will create 4 more pyro gems,
Boom.
and blue moves start with 2 more MP. So
Yep.
I love that there's 3 entourage effects. I love it. Um, tell me about that, Lee.
Okay, so we already have somebody in the chat going, Regal didn't need another boost, guys. I get it, but let's use Regal as a case study or an example here. So with William Regal's abilities, he needed Master of the Claymore Drew, who did 1 more Pyro Gem, and then he could trigger the Piper Power Plate twice in the same turn. And so
Okay.
with the +4 gems as opposed to +1, not only does he trigger the Piper Power Plate twice, but now you can create the entire bottom row and most of the top row, so it creates more columns, or wait, yeah, columns of multi gems, and then all of the board turns yellow. So instead of making a 5 area turn yellow and a 4 area turn into multis, it's now
Okay.
like a 6 area into multis and the whole board into yellow. 600 million turn 1. And so, yes, I know Regal didn't actually need that, but the fact that, okay, think of this. William Regal, granted, with both gears, I only have one, and with Sherry, I don't have Sherry. William Regal does 600 million with no buffs in boss battle. 600 million with no buffs every single boss battle, period. Now we're starting to get somewhere. That is game changing. And then just imagine there's a yellow or multi buff in place, and all of a sudden William Regal can do 3 billion, 2 billion damage
Okay.
in boss
So
battle.
Sensei Kreese would say Regal is now Powerhouse KO 2.0. He does
Yeah.
entirely too much damage, and a certain segment of the community are just going to try to get that number unnecessarily bigger every time something new comes out.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Possibly. I mean, again, there is something to say. There needs to be something for the whales to keep whaling, and I'm not really I'm a dolphin. I'm a dolphin. We'll say.
I don't
But
know.
the fact that I do have William Regal's one gear. What'd you say?
I said I think you're at least a beluga whale.
Is that the smaller one?
That's the what he's like white with the big dome, like on Finding
Oh.
Dory.
Oh, that's what Flex keeps posting on my. Every time I make a comment, he just puts a beluga whale. So now I get it. There we go.
So yeah. I think I called you that in an episode once. Like Ty Burrell plays that
Oh,
character.
that's right.
It's so funny, and like
Okay,
his
yeah, that was fun.
So
Right. Okay, so do we need that? Does it break the game? I mean, they probably will start limiting yellow multi combinations somehow in Boss because of this. The same way when KO first came out, technically when Boss first came out because KO came out sooner,
we
they
still,
made it to where you couldn't do KO builds.
still they still have limitations on Zombie Dom and KO.
Yeah.
So does that mean this new Regal boost limits what we'll see for Miz in boss battle because he also does yellow and multiplies?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's a question mark, but either way, multis always scale. So Mr. Rogue Effect said Regal didn't need another boost, so give a different answer. So a different answer for why we needed Maxine Dupree in game is unless you have Jade Cargill, Showboat females, none of them are top tier. Lita was good in her time, but she is going to take you
Right.
17 turns to win. Bailey is going to take you 17 turns to win. Unless you have Jade, there isn't a top female showboat.
Yeah, she was a feud CSS last week. So
Right.
Bailey was.
There you go. Bailey was. That's right. Or, well, I
Uh,
guess Charlotte plus both gears would also be accessible. But again, you're talking nobody that's super accessible.
right. So depth at female showboat.
Yeah.
Depth at
Depth.
female showboat.
Yeah. So
And
arguably two are good. So,
and
until her.
I'll yes and you. And
Okay.
Academy have consistently been a big part of WWE TV, so it makes
Yeah.
sense to make their boost and what they do and their link, and to have Maxine and Showboat Otis actually go really well together for Showdown. And yeah, so Protect Gems are getting new life, right?
Yeah.
As well as, let me say this, a little teaser. I think that's why they offered Judgment Day Rhea on the prize wall this month on
Yep.
the
Makes
monthly
sense.
prize. So because Judgment Day Rhea is going to be your essential trainer for Maxine. So
It's
if
funny.
you
I
don't
didn't
have
use
her,
her. in our preview at
Oh,
all.
really? Because like she boosts like yellow
Right.
and
That's
protect,
true.
right?
I
What is
used
it?
Otis. I used
Oh,
Otis because
yeah, yeah.
Otis is 100% protect gym damage. Yeah.
Yeah. So, last question of this segment, and then we'll dive into our community spotlight with our friend Smashquez. Lee, why did we need Ilya Dragunov, a focused technician in the game, S plus
Uh,
tier?
wow. Uh, Ilya Dragunov is very, very fun. That's my answer. But I think a lot of the community obviously wanted him. That judges by the vote. My hesitation and struggle is this is a third out of 4 months that we have a top tier tech.
Mm.
And of the three, he hits the softest, but that's saying something because he hits 80 million. So, like, if 80 million is the low bar, all right, wow. But Miz plus Moment hits 150 million consistently. If you have the gear for Julius Creed, he hits 270 million.
Right.
Ilya hits 80 million, but he hits it easier. It's safer. It's consistent. He's always going to hit 60 to 80 million just like nothing. So, yeah, I think he's a very good addition. I wish he would have been a top tier striker instead of a top tier
Oh, yeah.
technician.
Yeah. Striker or Acro would have been really cool.
Oh, Acro would have been so good if he hit the same
Yeah.
damage.
So I have a different response.
Okay.
I think that's true. I think everything you said is correct. Also, I think he's a rising star that's very popular
Yeah.
with wrestling fans. He's he's what Pete Dunne could have been and probably
Ooh.
should have been. He's
In real life or
arguably
in game?
in game. No, well, in wrestling, in WWE
Okay.
TV. Like, he's
Okay.
doing what Pete Dunne should have done. Like the
Hmm.
reason we loved
He
him
should have.
in NXT UK, the bruiserweight, like he was so unique and so cool. Um, I think the previous administration just ruined him, changed his name to Butch, made him a Sheamus crony. Bleh. So hopefully we'll
Right.
see. I would love to see Pete Dunne versus Ilya Dragunov feud. I would love to see that just be something that builds and has stakes and matters. Um, Here's why I think we needed Ilya Dragunov, because as a coach, he, I think, is the start of a new cycle of
Hmm.
coaches. Blue moves that deal damage will deal 40% more damage. Green gems will do 30% more damage. He has become upon his release a staple piece in arguably the best female in the game. Bow down to the
Tech
queen,
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Tech
Yeah.
Charlotte, he now replaces just, the chintzy green damage that we had on there before. Um, or if you put Hall of Fame DDP and you're
I was gonna say
wasting,
it's only 10% more, but yeah.
yeah. So like this is a really cool trend, I think, that we're seeing start. Like if they put like red and black together combos, black moves, red gems, suddenly you have, speaking of Butch, you've just given Butch a whole new life, right?
Hmm.
Second wind. I'd love to see this pattern continue. I'd love him to do a lot with color combinations, maybe that we haven't seen used before, much in the same way the seventh anniversary plates changed who was usable in an instant. This cycle of coaches could also do
Hmm.
that. Any response to that, Lee?
No, I agree. I mean, I want Ilya. He's oops, sorry. In terms of characters I will use to fight with, Ilya is my absolute favorite this month, and it's not even close. But in terms of the coaching ability, yeah, I want things that keep making Tech Charlotte better because her and Zombie Becky are tied for my favorite female character in the entire game and to use and. Anything that keeps making her better is great. Which, by the way, when we talk about the pyro plate on the prize wall and all that,
Yes.
Charlotte. If I get a second
Ooh.
one, it goes to Charlotte. Ooh. So now I could potentially get two things that Megazord Charlotte into something so good.
Oh wait, do you mean the Piper plate or the
Piper
Pyro
Power.
Princess?
Piper Power.
Okay. Why are those names so similar?
I
I
know.
just, I'm sure the community is a lot smarter than I am, and I'm the one that's uniquely struggling with it. Lee, take us into our community spotlight while I ponder these things.
Yeah. So I got to sit down last week after our stream on the official channel and interview Smashquez. Smashquez has been a part of the Black Pearl with us, now in Toxic Mafia with us, an important part of the community. In fact, Smashquez is the one that named the versatility era that was going on during the 6-star silver meta. So while we're the only ones who really kept saying those words, still, I claim that he named an entire era in the game. And we get to talk about some things that we don't normally talk about in these spotlights because it's up to the person who, what do they want to talk about in game. So that's kind of where it is. If you're on Twitch, we're going to pause for a second and then you'll just see us talk again. But on YouTube and on Spotify, Apple, here is our interview, Community Spotlight with J Smashquez. What's up, WWE Champions Universe? You're joining us for another community spotlight, and this time we have someone that I have actually been in 2 factions with across the history of this game. Someone I think is pretty awesome and a great addition to the community, J Smashquez. So, Smashquez, introduce yourself, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey in this game?
All right, well, hello everyone. My name is Jose J Smashquez. I'm in Toxic Mafia now. And before that, Black Pearl. And before that, when I first started the game, I thought it would be really cool to start my own faction and build from the ground up. And I think you quickly realize that that's not easy to do.
I didn't know any of this.
Yes. It was not
What faction did you start, and how did it go?
Let's see. I started the game, and I can't remember the first time. I just remember when you would go into the faction section, you had the 3-tiered locker room.
Oh, I remember that. And Kurt Angle walked around.
Oh, I thought it was Daniel Bryan, but
oh, yeah, we can't say. You can say it name. I can't say it name.
So that's what I remember. It might have been Kurt Angle, maybe someone WWE related still, but that's all I remember. And I left the game. I really didn't get into it a whole lot, and it wasn't until 2020 shut down, all that good stuff. I'm a teacher, so at the time it was teaching virtual classes, and it pretty much consumed the entire day, having to shift lessons and planning and interactions all virtual. So, I mean, you would think I would need a break from more screen time, but I I just needed something to distract my mind. It would be from getting up around 7 in the morning, classes, planning, and I wouldn't finish until probably 10 at night.
Oof.
And then sleep and do that over again. So I think the weekends were that time to rest and relax. And I downloaded the game again and just kind of got into it, and it was that reprieve. It was that place where just I could shut out the world and smash gems, as we like to say.
Did I steal that from you? I don't remember who said it first, but then I started
No,
using it a lot.
I think you started it in the Black Pearl. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, who
There are
knows?
many other quotes that I've introduced, probably some not fully appropriate. But
I was gonna say something we can't say on the. Well, but I attribute to you. You called the. Now we're in a different meta, but the end of the 6-star silver meta was the versatility era, and you coined that, and I cited you whenever I said it on streams. So
yes, I would always get the tags and just like, oh, he mentioned your name, and I'm like, I know, I'm popular. So I think that started my journey, and like just knowing nothing about the game. I can't remember. I would have who was the one with the heart punch? I think that was my best character for the longest time at 4,000 talent.
Big John Studd.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or so, yeah. I'm trying to think who. Yeah, they lift up their arm and then.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
So let's see, Jason Jordan. That was my best. Wow. Shobo for a while, and Samoa Joe, and it was just very slow. But I just remember some of those were my best characters at the time. I was like, yeah, this
Okay.
is great.
Wow. So you've come a long way, and you kind of already answered one of my follow up questions. Was going to be why'd you quit leading your own faction? But you already kind of started into that. So then, what kind of led you on your journey to now? Because you've been playing at a higher level, I would say, for for a while. You've got a pretty nice roster, and you help a lot in the faction. So was it just the pandemic that hooked you and then you just couldn't give it up, or what happened there?
Yeah, I would think it was several months of just playing, and it just kind of became a habit, and it was just a nice way to take breaks from the real world at the time, and then it just kind of became more and more fun as you discover little secrets and things that you can do. So the faction that I started, I don't remember the name. It was a long time ago. I think I got up to 5 members, and you
Oh,
would go into the faction section, and you don't achieve anything. Like, and, there's just so much, and
right.
my youngest brother at the time, he must have been maybe 17 or so, so that was another way for us to connect. And we're all wrestling fans and my siblings, so this was just another way for us to
Right.
stay close. And he joined the Black Pearl, and he says, hey, this faction actually like achieves all these like milestones, and like, you
Nice.
should come over here. I was just like, okay. And so I jumped over, and it wasn't until, what was it, the Halloween oopsie, that,
Yeah.
because I did not spend, I didn't know anything about that world. I was like, I'm not going to spend in this game. But then you get that little bit of a taste, and I was like, okay, this was free. I was like, I got some nice things. I got the zombie Triple H and zombie Roman Reigns. So
Nice. I
at
remember
that
that, I
time, I
think.
was like, whoa, these are amazing. And, they
Right.
hot for a while. Um, yeah, so then he kind of slowly weaned off the game, but I just, once I get that taste, and I like to get a little competitive, I kept going. And then again, I received some very generous gift cards from families at my school. So it
Okay.
was, holiday time. So that was New Year's Carrying Cross, the striker one that just came
Okay.
out. So I did the New Year's loot, and I was like, okay, I'm not spending my own money. Let's go for it. And I got him in that pool. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it's so ridiculous, but like, you can't, I don't know, like, it's to really describe that, it's like a quick high that you get from getting that like top tier character. You're just like,
Right.
oh my gosh. And I was just cycling on my my bike here at home, and just whatever I get. I wasn't expecting anything. I was like, oh my god, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
remember,
then
and Merrick's put out the video or something like that around that time of showing like how his yellow move hit for like a bazillion damage, because back then a million was a big number or whatever, and everybody was like, "Oh, I can't believe he got that character. We're jealous."
yeah, even his double subs, I was just like, they're never gonna tap. They're always gonna lose to me. And then the next big character that I got was Steiner, Tech Steiner.
Oh,
He was like
yeah,
stun loop and sub, and blast the board with purple. So that was another
yeah,
one that was, he took me to the top for a solid year.
right.
I was like,
Yeah, by the
yeah,
time I got him, he wasn't as spicy as with you had him in that. I mean, he's still good. Don't get me wrong, he's still good, but like I didn't get him where it was like, oh my gosh, he's the best, and you had him. That was good. You have some good luck. Like you've gotten some pretty decent pulls lately, I think too, haven't you?
yes, I have. So I did kind of participate in some summer camp, and that brings a little extra money. And just over the summer, it's kind of like, all right, it's 115 here in Las Vegas. It's hard to do things outdoors. I was like,
Yeah.
let's play. Let's invest a little bit more. And now that the school year's starting again, it's like, okay, let's go back to our healthy spending habits. And like I've always, um, I think it was when Powerhouse Brawn came out, or maybe the MLC after that. I just started doing the mega pulls, like or not the mega pull, but the pro starter pack.
Yeah.
So I just found, I was like, okay, I get more resources when I start with this one. Just get that character as high as you can at the beginning of the MLC, and that took me, like for several months until the patterns changed and you had to pivot, and then it just became like a really close call. Like I'm trying to remember which MLC that was. I think recently when it changed from. Huh. Yeah, but it was very recent. Where was it? The Acom and Razor, or maybe a little bit before that.
Yeah.
Where I think where everyone had to pivot. It's like, oh my gosh, like this doesn't run the same. Or
right.
I think the big one I would like to go into the online store and go into the section where you would have the extra MLC points that you would get from like purchases of the web coins and whatnot.
Right.
But then they removed that, and then it became a little less easier to get the change character. So then
Rezar was the one that was like real hard for a lot of the community to acquire, and then that was like right before they changed the formatting and threw off everybody. So,
which I really enjoy this new format.
Do you? So tell me about that. One of the questions we often ask on this are, what are you liking about the game and what's kind of a struggle? So, like, I mean, if you want to go with those questions, like, what are you liking about the new format?
I like that they provide almost like a big map of where you can get things, and it's not like a surprise, or you don't get that anxious feeling of like, is it going to be there? Like, oh my gosh, I'm so close, or maybe I'm so far and there's no hope.
Right.
And I think there's a bit more clarity now. And I think more on the negative side is you don't have as many surprises when you were getting that weekend character of like, who's it going to be? And just the anticipation. I feel like now that you see them coming, it's not as exciting.
Right.
So like a very cool character. It's like I would have been really, over the moon with Trish, and this Cody's really awesome.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's I don't know. You see it coming, so you're like, okay, like I'm not going to spend thousands just to get those, or like a surprise. It's kind of like, nah, I can skip that. It's not my favorite character. I'm okay. If I get it, I get it. If not, nah.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, they tried to surprise everybody with Acro Sammy last month. It just got spoiled. So this month they did actually hold back and didn't put Naomi in the code or however people found Acro Sammy, so that she was a surprise. So technically, out of the 3 months we've been doing this format, they've had 2 surprise characters. And then I would say that Ozzy is surprising. I mean, I don't think anybody would have pegged like, who's going to be the best character that comes out this month? Oh, Ozzy Osbourne. People be like, yeah, right. Haha. Oh, actually.
Yeah, I remember you putting in the Discord chat, just you guys are never going to guess, and everyone's guessing just obscure wrestling characters, and it was like, it's Ozzy. It's like, oh,
yeah.
So, and then like I think everyone expected him to be incredibly challenging to unlock.
Right.
But then I think it was the manager's pass to or the contest or something, and you just did a little bit of this, and it's like, oh, I got him.
Right.
And you play him, and you're like, wait, 1 MP, like trap gems, and like this is fantastic. And just today I got him at 6-star gold, so I was excited about that.
How did you get him 6? I'm not going to spoil it because you had to have done some pulls because I still need that Cody Rhodes vinyl to get him to 6 gold. So
yes, I have done some pulls for sure.
Okay,
and that's when I got Rhea Ripley, and I was trying to aim for that Naomi, and I may or may not have gotten her.
You may or may not have gotten Naomi. Oh.
Maybe I'm feeling the glow.
Okay. Well, we just showed her off at 6 gold on the stream you were just watching us on, and triple green. I mean, it's not her only moveset, but that triple green moveset is nothing to sneeze at. I like it.
Yeah, I like the triple green. I like the power gem builds. Yeah, right now I'm just really lacking on red. On red, so
TP.
I'm like, all right, you're gonna stay where you are for a while. So
right.
Yeah, right. I feel like all these new characters just toss out your plans of who you're gonna take up and whatnot, and I try to take the Miss T approach of like, all right, I'm going to focus on who I like, and so far it's been working out for me. It's like, oh, you just happen to also be a really great character, so it just makes my decision easier.
Just makes it work. Nice.
And even though she calls me super salty, I'm not that salty.
Well, it's just because Right. So for like the 99.9% of the community that have no idea what you're talking about, the faction that we were part of that we still love, the Black Pearl, Miss T from there, who's been on the podcast before here, she has Sherry. She has incredible luck. Like, just what in the world kind of luck? And she has Sherry, and you're chasing Sherry, and there's been some back and forth, like lovingly heated.
Lovingly, more loving. I think if it was in this setting, like she would feel the love.
Right.
Less of the salt content, Smash comes low sodium, so
Nice. Nice.
this was
Low
fine. And I
sodium.
thought was it yesterday she got Bray Wyatt? So I was
Yeah.
like, good for you. I was like, I got him on his debut weekend, so I'm not too salty.
Well, then I'm salty at both of you because I don't have Muda, I don't have Bray Wyatt, I don't have Sherry. I don't like. It took me until a couple weeks ago to get Roxanne. It was only because they changed the Ultimate Contest or Champions Club. I still wouldn't have her if that didn't exist. So, you guys got some luck I don't have. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I think it was last week's podcast where you were kind of ranking who you would get from the online store from the club, and
Yeah.
I think for me now, after this past weekend, I'm about 100 shards away from Sherry.
Oh.
So I'm thinking like, okay, like I've been very strategic. I've been, so I signed up and I was like, all right, maybe if I, spend here and there, I'll save up enough and I'll get her. At the time, it was the 1 million or something. So I was like, all right, it's insane. But so now it's 700,000.
Yeah,
So,
it's still.
But now
they
being
didn't-
so close and
Yeah.
being more strategic, I'm wondering like, okay, even if I could, I don't think I would get her now because of her high price point.
Right.
So it's like, all right, maybe in the next month or so, it seems like I would have enough shards for her.
Right.
And then it got me going of like, okay, there were about 53 characters that were available for me to choose from. So then I'm thinking like, all right, I'm more so focusing on like who are those trainers or coaches that I need to have.
Right.
I guess I'm less focused on like, oh, who's my next top hitter or who do I really want to hit hard. It's like, no, like I'm pretty solid there. So
Right.
I think Goldberg was the first one that came to mind because I have Seth Rollins, but I believe he's a coach, and he does generate an extra Juggernaut gem.
Goldberg does, yeah.
In the coaching section, it kind of doesn't work that well. Or I'm trying to because
Seth is a trainer, Goldberg's a coach.
There we go. I had
Right.
him mixed up. So I think when you need those first two slots for the MP boost or whatever, then I'm like, Seth, like move over to the coach side and that'll be great. But
Right.
So I tried Seth on EST Glamorist.
Okay.
But if she overrides her own Juggernaut gem, so then that ended up not working. So it's always like, all right, who are you really going to benefit? So all I can think about was Fatu. That I think that debut weekend where you tried him out with Goldberg and he hit hard, but then they're like, no, Triple Green actually hits harder. So
yeah. Well, the red is just slower, but then again, at that time I didn't have like Roxanne. I don't know. Like maybe there's some new tricks, but I mean, Fatu Triple Green's still pretty good. And if you have Seth and Goldberg, I haven't tried a lot of characters where you run both, so who knows? I mean, now that I've got Seth, I could try Acro Bianca with Seth because he would buff her gems 40% and trigger more of the Juggernauts. So maybe just maybe Acro Bianca gets some love again now. I don't know. See.
Yeah, it's just kind of trying things out. I had someone in the faction today just asking about characters, and I just let them know like there's 3 main channels that I'll go to just to I go to Merrick's and then I go to both of you as well, and it just gives me more of a realistic and grounded approach to each character.
Right.
And then that other side of my brain was I'm like, let's go check out Cesaro and see what he's doing.
Right.
And so it's like you just see those quick videos that you have to just slow it down or something.
You gotta go what
like random
what
clicks and it's like boom. And I could almost see him like doing the mic drop and like
yeah.
Well, I don't
that.
quite get it, but you did it.
Right. Zoro just there's things he does where he's like, well, you just have to click this, the fourth gem on the right for this, and the third gem to the top here, and you just do this, and then boom, it's done. And I'm like, I'm still on the first thing you said, bud. Like,
Still trying to find a trainer. What are you doing?
right.
Yeah.
Right.
The one I felt really proud of was Charlotte, and I think I sent you that video of like, oh no, this is like you can actually select that move but not lay it down, and then hit the
Right.
blue one to reset it, and then hit
Yeah.
harder, and that just like blew me away. So then you
Right.
add the trap and everything. It was like 100 like that. Yep. I was like, she hits hard.
She is very good. Yeah, and for those who don't know, don't realize, whatever, Smashquez is the only person other than Rusty and I on our channel who have done 3-minute moveset videos for this channel. So you're a luminary here, you know?
You, I think it was Ministry Taker,
Yeah, and
Sammy,
him.
Sammy, and him. Yeah, Carmelo.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
another
if
one.
people go to find how to run them, they're gonna run into you.
You'll hear my sultry voice coaching you through these characters.
Nice, nice. Well, anything else you want to hit on?
Oh,
Or you said you had some questions.
I mean, I guess it's a bit off topic and just
Okay.
like, well, at least off the Champions Chat, and it's been a lot. I saw your lead pastor.
Yeah.
Okay, so like for me, I think religion, and of course, I don't know, like a member identify with the LGBTQIA community.
Yeah.
My husband is not here yet, but I'm using his office as well. So it's just a lot of conversations where uh, that I have about just religion in general, and kind of like I've talked to people, and I talk to like, what is it about religion that that draws you? Because I try to seek more understanding and
Yeah.
stray away from judgment. And so far, the people that I've talked to is like, oh, like I just feel that sense of community, and brings me closer together to other people that create that safe space. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what everyone is searching for.
Right.
And like you think about the factions that we've been a part of, and that's also like the feeling that's a part of those factions.
Yeah.
Uh, so for me, it's how can you create a safe space for yourself, but then also reduce your judgment and just be open, and develop these wonderful relationships with people.
Right.
So like, I don't know, for me that's been great. And recently I've been listening to this band Ghost for a long time. And my husband, he's been reading the Bible recently, just because
Oh.
he grew up like in a Catholic household, so did I. But he just wants to get a better understanding. Like, he always hears people kind of using religion and the Bible to kind of support their own
Right.
misconceptions and misbeliefs, just because they maybe haven't read it themselves, or they
Right.
just go based on what they hear. So he was just thinking like, all right, I just actually want to sit through this, and like I want to read through the stories, and make decisions for myself, and be informed. So
Right.
connecting my favorite music and then his like understanding of like what he's reading, and like it's been really great, because the band, they would present their like rock and roll, maybe a little
Hmm.
bit heavy metal, and I think most people's first impressions are like, oh, it's satanic, or it's
Right.
you actually listen to the lyrics, and they're very beautiful, and it could, depending on your perspective and how you view it, like it could be like a higher power of positivity. It
Right.
doesn't. So, when if you look at it first glance and you hear the music, people are like, oh, that's coming from the devil or whatever. It's like,
Right.
no, actually listen to the music and the lyrics, and some of them like have beautiful messages.
Right.
For me, yeah, being a part of this faction, and like I think some religious groups have a hard view on members of the LGBT community, but not all do.
Right.
So hopefully, I don't know. Like, I always try to not pass judgment and get that understanding of others, and
No, that's good.
how
That's
their own groups form and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean, like I say, you and I have been in factions together for a couple of years now, and so I mean, we have been in that community. And I think that is, I mean, obviously that's not the only reason I think to be a person of faith, but that is one of the aspects of it, is finding a community that is growing, that is life-giving, that is challenging you, because there are certain things that I need to be called out on. Like, if I'm focused on me as the main thing in life, like, I'm missing things. And so, the aspect of focusing on something greater than yourself, but also being called into being in community, and learning to love others, and learning to set aside your own preferences and your own, like, if I were to allow myself, I would absolutely be one of the most self-centered jerks, because I mean, I think everybody's this way to some degree, but like, I had somebody one time say, like, hey, when you open your wallet, what do you think about? I think about me. When you look at your schedule, what do you think about? I think about me. When you wake up in the morning, what do you think? Like, just being honest, like, a lot of my thoughts, a lot of my life is self-centered, and my faith causes me to get outside of me, literally to deny myself and to elevate others. And I think that there's a lot of that I need. It's a good check for me. In addition to the hope it brings, there's also a lot to just check me and say, like, hey, you're not the center of the like, you're important. Don't get me wrong, you're not the center of the universe, which is helpful context for life for me.
Absolutely. And I think that's been a common thread with the factions that we've been a part of, is everyone, can take that time to check themselves at the door,
Yeah.
for the most part. We have, incidents and people become upset, but that's just a part of being in any
Right.
community.
Right.
So I've definitely enjoyed that, just kind of finding another safe space with, people of contradicting views or whatever, but we're still, it's like, hey, like, we're
Yeah.
all people. And like, I just recall my husband and I were going grocery shopping, and then we were going to the fish store to refill his gallons, and like, I started laughing, and
Gallons
I
of
said,
fish?
like, huh?
Gallons of fish? I keep going. I don't want to interrupt your
Sorry,
flow. I just have
gallons of
I
fish
have
water.
questions.
It's been a long day for both of us.
Okay, gotcha.
But we're just riding in this truck, and I just start laughing. I'm thinking, like, oh, like, what we're doing right now genuinely makes some people very angry. And you just think, like, yeah, we're just going to the grocery store, and we're going to the fish store, and we're just, we're not doing anything that's crazy or anything. But it was like, all right. But and I try to bring that to my classroom as well. I have students from all walks of life, and different religions, and just runs the gamut. But
Right.
just, like, my goal for all of my kids is, like, how can I nurture you? Like, how can I make sure that you're taken care of when you're under my watch? And how can I make sure that, like, you truly love coming to school? And I try to approach that through many different communities that I'm a part of, is, like, yeah, I want you to feel welcomed. I want you to feel like you're a part of. And like, everyone wants that safety and just that belonging. So I feel like, as my journey through tying it back to WWE Champions, like, has progressed, it's kind of, you really, like, find that tight knit community, but it's also welcoming of, like, new people that come in and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I think that's been awesome. Of hopefully, like, more people can maybe listen to this community spotlight and decide, like, all right, like, I can be more open minded. Like, I don't have to agree, but like, I can listen and I can take feedback, whatever it
Yeah.
may be, through the game or not, and just kind of enjoy life, because it can be a quick one, a short one, and let's make it a fun, enjoyable one.
That's I very much appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lost art in our society of disagreeing agreeably. And
Yes.
as we get closer, this is not a podcast on religion or politics, but at the same time, as we get closer to what's coming up in the next few months, like, that is a lost art to learn. Like, I saw somebody post something that said, if you're losing friends over originally it was because it was two guys at the time for the election, but that's changed now since too. But it said, if you're losing friends over a guy who does not even know you exist, like, why don't you rethink what you're doing? And that's that saying, like, it's okay to hold your beliefs. It's okay to hold differing opinions, but if you can't disagree agreeably and just recognize that the other person is a person of value, the other person is someone that you may disagree with them in a big way on whatever, but that's still a person that matters, and they should matter to you, and you shouldn't allow something to come between you that causes you to view that person as lesser than, or as someone that, you don't have to get along with everybody, but you also, one of the aspects of my faith, there's a piece that says, as far as it depends on you, be at peace with all people. And I always remind myself, it does not say as far as it depends on them, what they post on Facebook or what their political view or what their, it's as far as it depends on me. And that puts the onus back on me to recognize the shared humanity, the things we have in common, the, whatever it happens to be. And that's what allows for community, because a good community is diversity. It's unity in the midst of diversity. So yeah, hopefully the factions we've been in, hopefully the conversations we've had has created some of that.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think usually you take statements that people say for face value, and you're in positions where, as you said, like, I can walk away, I can block this friend, I can not speak to them. Like my husband and I, we like have a lot of differing opinions on things, and it's kind of like, all right, I love you, and we have to sit here through the discomfort, and we really want to talk about, like, what are the deeper things behind, like, what your thoughts are. Like, I'm very much like a city boy from California, and he's very much like country from Michigan, and it's just kind of like different lifestyles, and that just presents like different things that are important to you, but not necessarily saying, your experience isn't important to me, but like we just have different life experiences. But now we're sitting here as people who care about each other, and hopefully, like, that could be more of a perspective that other people can take on, and maybe it's not, or maybe it is, like picking up your phone and having a conversation and really having an understanding, and not just casting a judgment, be like, all right, it's over between us.
Right.
Obviously that friendship was important to you, or those family members are important to you. So
Yeah.
I think those are things that I value a lot. Like financial things, I'm like, sure, it's important, but just the friends and family that gain throughout life, I was like, those are truly invaluable and priceless. So
Right.
keep
Well,
those
I
close.
wasn't going to ask it as a gotcha, but since you brought it up, the financial things, and your husband doesn't play this game, but and then you've got to justify, like, oh, I'm sorry, but I got Naomi.
See, the beautiful thing is our finances are separate.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's, for the most part, like, I pay a lot of the bills of the house and whatnot and everything. And, he takes care of a few things. And right now he's going to school. So, like, I'm also like helping out with that. Like, and just kind of putting like, all right, like, your goal is my goal and we're going to achieve it together. So part of it's like, all right, I have a little bit extra, like, all the bills are paid, everything's taken care of, the dogs are fed, the cats are good. Like, yeah, treat
Right.
yourself.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mentioned it on stream, but I have a little system with my wife too, where I'll go, hey, babe, and she'll just go, how much? How much is this one?
Megapoles.
I'm like,
Just
but
Roxanne. Just
if
Roxanne.
I spend $20 more, I can guarantee myself, and she'll be like, uh huh.
Mhm.
Oh, jeez. Well, you and I can stay on and chat for a bit, but our time for the spotlight is up. This has been great. It's good to get to know you, and for the community to get to know the person who defined an entire era for the game, and helps out on 3-minute movesets. So, anything you want to say to close out this segment? Time is yours.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, the versatility era came and went, and we'll see what we stumble on next. But I hope we can continue smashing gems together and having a great time. And of course, have to represent the pandas. So
Yeah, well, maybe I have to save it for another one because I was going to ask that because your avatar that you've used for us for a couple times is a panda too. So, but that can be the next conversation.
Okay, I'll do a quick Hulk Hogan moment that you had, where it's like I have a panda tattoo.
Oh, okay.
So love of pandas goes deep.
I can tell. Yeah.
But we'll save that for the second episode.
There you go. All
Well,
right,
thanks so
back to
much for
the
having me on. I really appreciate it.
absolutely, absolutely. And we're back, Rusty. Welcome.
Nice. I love it. I would say Smashquez is one of my favorite people in the community, and we've been faction mates together for years now.
A couple years now, I know, right?
I think he's oftentimes the source of our content. I would consider him one of our writers, if you will.
Really?
He says things in conversations about the game that we then use on our show. So, credit to Smashquez for being, I think, an innovative mind about the game. And the way he says things are usually simple yet profound, right? He has a way of just kind of accurately summarizing things that I'm oftentimes reaching for the words to say that. So, yeah. Well, should we shift our attention to the real world of professional wrestling, Lee?
Absolutely. Let's do that. So in the previous segment, if you're just watching or hearing the WWE TV side of things, Rusty, you said something I wanted to save for here. You said that Dirty Dom has become your favorite storyline, but Cody is your favorite character. So
right.
I wanted to touch on that because when you said that, it jarred something in my brain, and it kind of it bugs me to some degree. I've made it no secret, Punk versus Drew, and I guess and Seth now is by far my favorite storyline, like probably tied with the Bloodline for the last 20 or 30 years of storylines. Wow. However, I don't think I have a favorite wrestler, period, right now. There is not a guy or gal that I hang my hat on. I would say Becky Lynch is the closest in recent years.
What a sad reality to have as your lived experience, to have no favorite.
I know. Normally, I have a Hogan, I have an HBK, I have a throughout my lifetime, Goldberg for a while. Like I've always had somebody who is like my guy or gal. And other than like rooting for the man Becky Lynch, I mean, all the characters are so good. Like there's not really. It's not that everybody's bad. There's just nobody that's standing out on the top of my radar right now. Like not a single one. I'd be glad to be proven wrong, but I mean, we're going to Monday Night Raw here in a few weeks when it's in Denver. Right I am. I am. My son and I are.
And
my buddy Brad and I are. But
do you do a podcast for Brad? Is he a pro wrestling aficionado?
He watched it back in, like, he grew up in the Sportatorium days and lived where he could go to the Sportatorium and stuff. So he is a lapsed fan, but
you're doing to Brad what you did to me, right? You're giving him a little taste of the drug, trying to pull him in, trying to get him hooked on the stuff, and you're going to take advantage of him. You're going to make him your friend, and then you're going to get all the best stuff, and he's going to get all the worst stuff. Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
and then he's gonna get hooked on Dirty. But I'll get to see Dirty Dom live. I mean, the way trends are going anyway and stuff. What if I get to see The Rock? What if The Rock comes back in Denver twice and this time I'm actually there?
Yeah.
But tell me I'm wrong. Tell me why someone should be my favorite, because there's literally nothing is coming to mind as this wrestler is the one that I'm hanging my hat on, as I am team.
I don't think
that
you have
guy.
To have one. I don't think you have to have one. We are
I
now
don't function well without it.
We're now in an era where the babyface is over, like at an astronomically high rate, a la Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. They just keep turning everyone face. It's really weird. Rhea, Damian Priest, if they're not careful, they're gonna make Gunther a babyface somehow, right?
Gunther's probably the closest to my favorite, actually,
yeah,
but
I
still
think
not.
you just enjoy it. Just enjoy the show, right? That's the thing. Just enjoy the show. Be open to be surprised. Be open to be impressed. Be open to whatever it holds. Versus, it's kind of like our power ratings, right? You don't have to go into it with a bias, thinking, my favorite, I better get something really good from my favorite. You'll miss a lot of great matches if your favorite person isn't the one in that match. Does that make sense?
Kind of, but my, like, the way I'm wired, so little peek behind the curtain for me, I found a couple years ago, I was going through some of my stuff from when I was a kid to sort it and get rid of it or save it. I found I used to make lists back in the WWF days before the new generation. I used to make lists and rate who my favorite people were in order. Like, I mean, it was always Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, but like I looked at that and at one point, like $1 Million Man was my number 3 guy. I was like, ooh, okay, that's awesome. I mean, I literally had the Rockers listed together as a spot. And so it's important to me to have a top guy.
100%. I have always been an Ultimate Warrior hater. Always. There has never been a day where I liked the Ultimate Warrior. In fact, when Jake the Snake was torturing him and haunting him, I became an even bigger Jake the Snake fan. The time The Undertaker locked his hand in a casket, I became an even bigger Undertaker fan. The Ultimate Warrior was so good at putting over heels that then became my favorite person. Whoever that was, it's like some sports fans, right? They're like, my favorite team is the Steelers and whoever's playing the Dallas Cowboys. I always felt like that. Like, my favorite wrestler is whoever's going against the Ultimate Warrior.
Nice.
I never liked him. He was a spaz at best. He was a weirdo. He was a drugger. He was a steroid guy. He was terrible back. Ooh, God, I'm allergic to even talking about Jim Hellwig. That's a terrible.
Well, real quick, cultural sensitivity moment. The word spaz is highly offensive in England, so we'll just.
I very much apologize.
We just didn't know.
Well, and as a person who grew up in Gen X, that was something we just called a friend that was hyper, right? Just they're spastic. They're hyperactive. They can't stop moving. They're chaotic. So
yeah. I knew what you meant.
Lee, does anyone actually love Seth Rollins?
I know people who really get caught. If he would dump the Monday Night Messiah gimmick, I think I would like him again. He's getting closer. The more he gets away from the constantly and the floofy outfits, like, I mean, cool, it's a fashion choice, but like he's intentionally wearing annoying things just to have that his gimmick. Like, if his gimmick was not I am annoying but I'm over, I think I could get into him. And I don't know if we can say spoilers for what happened on Raw. That was the best segment. Sorry, go ahead.
I just say he doesn't have a gimmick. He's not over. People like the crowd participation. They like the song simply because they like interacting with the show. They don't like him. They don't like him. And here's proof. Bronson Reed on Monday Night Raw went up top and issued 6 back-breaking splashes off the top rope. So much so that Rollins was spitting out blood at the end of that segment. And the crowd was chanting, "One more time."
That's right.
One more time. They don't like Seth Rollins. They respect his in-ring ability. They like what he can do. He's an AJ Styles level performer. He will put over anyone he's in the ring with. He will make them shine. He will make them look better. He will sell hard. He will do a decent promo, but he is not over. He is not likable. He is overhyped, overutilized. He's a worker. He's a worker, and they respect
He's married
his
to a goat.
He's cool by association, meaning he was in the Shield with Roman, and he married arguably the greatest female superstar of all time.
Yes.
He's Kevin Nash of this generation. He's Diesel that is riding the fame of Shawn Michaels. He's not even Scott Hall, right? Scott Hall
because he's not that cool.
Scott Hall had genuine fans. We liked the bad guy. We like, hey, yo. Like, at least he had a gimmick. Seth Rollins has nothing but an annoying laugh and
a song.
A penchant for raiding his wife's closet and wearing her items to the ring.
Oh, we have to call this Rusty's Rants again.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't understand why he has been a featured main eventer. Finn Balor is what Seth Rollins wishes he was. Finn Balor's better looking. Finn Balor's better on the mic. Finn Balor's better in the ring. Finn Balor sells more merchandise. Finn Balor makes people cool. Seth doesn't make anyone cool, right? Who is Seth made cool? Finn Balor had the Bullet Club. Finn Balor is what made the Judgment Day like the cool kids at the party. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get why Seth has had the opportunities that Finn has not had. Finn, the first Universal title champion, Finn Balor. Finn gets injured. Where does it go? The belt goes to Seth. Seth has been an what do they call it? An understudy wrestler his whole career because of an injury to Finn Balor. Tweet that out.
Well, your promo is very over in the chat, Rusty. We're getting some. This is awesome. Clap, 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 clap. Yeah, I don't disagree with almost anything that you said right there. And my only hope is that they use this Bronson Reed angle to completely reset Seth and make him come back as a different character. Like, Undisputed Future Seth is probably the framework that they should have kept for a while. Something at least that or better.
That was really good. That was my top WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
That's how far Seth Rollins has fallen. That he was the heist of the century. And what did he do with it? I hope Bronson Reed squashed the unlikability out of Seth Rollins on Monday night. That's what I hope.
Oh, Zandel said in the chat, he's the male Charlotte to me. Yeah, I said it, which I mean, I could agree. Like, Charlotte, arguably one of the best wrestlers in history. I would not rate her in my top 20 females, period. Except for in-game. In-game, number one. But other than
Charlotte has legacy. Charlotte has a name. Charlotte has a father who is a legend. Charlotte has, she's royalty, right? Cody's promo, I think, is about Charlotte Flair. When he said, when his music comes on, there's more than one royal family in professional wrestling, right? I think that was initially designed for the Flairs. They're lifelong friends. Dusty and Rick, lifelong friends. I think that's absolutely saying the roads matter as much as the Flairs matter.
Yeah.
So at least we have something interesting there. Charlotte has an interesting connection to wrestling where Seth has nothing except cow print boots and an NXT title. That's the only time Seth Rollins was likable. Like Flair is a self. I mean, she has ridden the coattails of her father, even emulating his in-ring attire, his robes, her
His
woo.
woo.
I mean, she has done it. She has done, and she has been over, so far over that you wanted to see her lose the same way you wanted to see Roman lose.
Yeah.
Because she just she was the industry standard for women's wrestling. Rollins has never been the industry standard. Rollins has never been anything other than Roman's shadow, right? I'm drinking my gas station coffee here, getting all worked up.
No, I'm just keep going. I'm going to separate out. We haven't separated out the podcast segments in a while. I'm separating this one out. I'll tag Seth Rollins on Twitter. Let's see if we can get a third person. Now Lesnar's going to chase you down. Batista's going to chase you down, and Seth Rollins is going to chase you down at some point. So I love it.
Okay, so if Seth Rollins is listening, I don't think he'll ever hear this, but if he's listening, I wanted to love you. I wanted to love you. You, again, my favorite WrestleMania moment. You are a rising star in the company, the first ever NXT champion. You've got so much charisma. You've got so much in-ring ability, but you have failed to make yourself interesting. You have used cheap gimmicks and parlor tricks to make a crowd like you. But I don't think they like you. So why not be a heel? Make us hate you, Seth. Make us hate. We did hate you at one point, and that's when you were the most relevant. That's when you deserved the main event title. That's when you deserved a shot. When you were a heel above heels. And I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why you have to be this tweener that we can't figure out. I don't know why you were inserted into the main event of WrestleMania 40 because they had nothing more interesting to do with you. And again, in Roman's shadow, make us love you or make us hate you. But don't make us cheer for you one more time when we see your body get bruised and bleeding, okay?
Wow. This has been Rants with Rusty, and if we end up getting called out by WWE, this is great. Eric Bischoff, man, controversy creates cash. So whatever. Seth Rollins is gonna look those 800 views you got on your podcast, and I'm making millions on YouTube videos.
No, I think the reason I care, I think the reason I'm passionate about this is because I believe he's capable of more.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they've settled for less. I don't know why he's settled for less. I don't know why creative has settled for less. Seth Rollins ought to be selling toys and merchandise, and we ought to be able to defend why they keep putting belts on him. But I can't. I have no defense for Seth Rollins. Yep.
Well, and then on the flip side of that, you've got Roman Reigns, who finally is getting babyface love, where WWE tried to push him down our throats for years, using Seth as the ploy to get us to like Roman. Like you said, Seth was if we use him, Roman will get over, and they could not get Roman over, and now we want Roman shouted out through the arenas, and then he comes back. What are your thoughts on SummerSlam? Roman Reigns returns.
Well, and just a note, right, while we're talking about Seth, has anyone ever shouted out, "We want Seth"? Has any crowd ever gotten that hot for Seth Rollins that they started chanting, "We want Seth"? No, no, no. That was a
Whoa,
tremendous.
whoa, oh, oh.
Listen. That crowd singing is pre-recorded in his intro music. The crowd is doing what they're fed to do. That's not organic crowd singing. It's canned. They're singing along to the song that's being played at maximum volume in the arena.
Wow. Wow. Well, is that our show, or do we have other things to talk about today?
I'm sure we'll get Seth Rollins versus whoever the more interesting of the Drew versus Punk match. I mean, I'm sure they're going to build that.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure that.
Punk versus Rollins is still the plan for the next WrestleMania now.
And who will care? All they'll be doing is using Rollins to prop up an aged CM Punk, a personality we do like that is over. He'll work that match. He'll make Punk shine. He'll make the crowd go crazy. And again, no one will love Seth Rollins for it.
Well, this has been Seth Rollins Chat with WWE Champions. Rusty is going to be getting love and hate mail now from the community. So
Give me a reason. Tell me why you love Seth Rollins. If you want to leave a comment on this, tell me why. Not you like him, not that he's fun. I want to know, why is he interesting? Why is he compelling? Why do you want to see him with a belt? Why do you want to buy his merchandise? That's what I want to know. Why do you actually love him?
So, using your Bronson Reed analogy, that segment reminded me of Hogan Earthquake. And when Hogan Earthquake happened, Hogan got more over. Hogan got sympathy. Hogan became more beloved in the community. Bronson and Seth segment, Bronson got more over. Bronson got sympathy. Bronson got more love from the community. So if you want to talk about parallels, that's an interesting study in contrast right there.
And let me just cite a source here. Listening to, I share a deeply held opinion, the same as Bully Ray, Bubba Ray Dudley, on the Busted Open podcast and show on XM Radio and all that. Like, I think he's dead on about Seth. A lot of the things I've said, he absolutely agrees with and has also said. But here's what Bubba Ray said this week on the show. If it were Cody laying on the mat, would the fans have yelled one more time? If it were Sami Zayn laying in the ring, would they have been chanting one more time? If it were Kevin Owens, would they have been chanting one more time? Right? They would have been booing him out of the arena if it was somebody the fans actually loved. If it was Ludwig Kaiser, they'd be chanting one more time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all I can say is I hope they use this opportunity of Seth being injured, quote unquote. Hopefully not in real life. I mean, I'm hoping that was a blood packet and all that. But
we want the show. This is all about the show. Let me just say, this is not ever about wishing ill on anyone's career or anyone's physical person. We just want a great show. We're fans of the show.
Yes. And as a fan of the show, I hope Seth Rollins comes back with a dramatically different character. Dramatically different. Not a, this Monday Night Messiah is kind of a, this version of it's kind of a ploy off what they did during the pandemic era, which was kind of a build off of like a, whatever. Like, I hope he comes back with something completely different. Like, remember when Austin was the radical one because he stripped his tights to black? Like, everybody else was wearing these wild colors, and Austin
Yep.
wore black trunks. He was the radical one for wearing black. Now everybody wears black, and Seth is trying to be the radical one by wearing all these other outfits. But what if he
Right.
comes back the most stripped down, like almost Tyler Black version of Seth Rollins that we've seen on the main roster run? I think people can get behind him. I think they could like him. But what we've got now is fodder for CM Punk at best. So, yeah. And I hope Becky Lynch comes back. So.
Yes, me too. We love Becky. Seth, if you're watching this, we love Becky so much. We love Becky.
Just slap in the face. We don't like
The
you,
best
but your wife
about
is
you.
awesome, dude.
She's the best thing about you. So.
Oh, Seth, I'm going to be at Monday Night Raw in a couple weeks. If you'd like to punch me to punch Rusty, if you'd like to punch Rusty through me, I'll be there. I trained as a wrestler. It's just been a long time ago, so please pull the punch, But hey, I'll take one for the team.
That's all I've got for today, Lee. I've said enough word for the both of us.
Yeah, I think this was good. We didn't talk about anything SummerSlam. We didn't talk about anything going on in the world of WWE. Even the big Dom turn that I thought we were going to talk about from heel to heel. But you know what? That's why I got to keep coming back for more. So, thank you for being a part of this stream, for those live with us. Thank you for the 800 or so people who are going to watch this, listen to it on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, podcasts, all that good stuff. And, as a reminder, if you're only listening to this portion of it with the WWE, this is based on the WWE Champions mobile app, which is the best wrestling game there has ever been. Better than 2K, better than No Mercy. I said it. It's an honor to smash gems in this community, and we love you guys. Bye.
Bye.